Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it's Your Impact Attack. It is, in fact, the Impact Attack, and we're back. And it is the last episode of Impact of the year, which means it's the last Impact Attack of 2025. And are we going to go out with a bang? Well, not based on this episode they gave us, not really, no. But we're gonna do our best to make sure that we send you into 2026 uh, in the best of conditions. And who are we, after all? The VBC is who we are. Uh, I'm the V in the VBC. The V stands for vet. I'm Jamie Williams. Hello. With me, as always, my tag team partner Brandon. As I reach through the magic of the internet and am able to make the hot tag so that Brandon can come in and clean house.
Babyface Fire Up, what's up?
Brandon,
hot week. Yeah, hot tag, hot week for TNA.
Oh yeah, so hot, just extremely hot, like the hottest actually. You wouldn't even know it's the dead of winter right now. Based on the hot show that they delivered. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about it to you, the C in the VBC. You are the chat. You are the people. You are here with us now. You have been with us since the beginning. Or some of you have been just jumped along the way. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You're here now, and that's what counts. And who are you that are here now? Brandon, who is here now?
See who we got tonight. We got Lab Rat, we got Chris Winland, we got Cold Blooded, we got Dan, we got Javi Uchiha, and we got Liz. Hope everybody's doing well. Whoop, whoop.
It's quite a group. All Hall of Famers. You're all in the Hall of Fame. So yeah. So as you probably figured out, if you didn't already know, TNA provided us another one of those best of specials. I'll give them this. There was at least a new match. You know, as Tom sits in the studio with his stupid sweater on and introducing matches. And we also had some year-end awards. So, you know, it wasn't like total crap. It was definitely less offensive than what they did following Bound for Glory, where for no reason they just took time off to follow up their hugely successful pay-per-view. And when I say hugely successful, please believe me, I mean that in relative terms. But, yeah, this is what we've come to expect. I mean, Brandon, you and I have been doing this long enough. We know, like, yeah, TNA is going to go to sleep during the holiday time. But this year, for whatever reason, they were a little more lively around Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it was, you know, kind of in October that they just said, fuck you guys. So it's a little different, but still, whether you slide the 3 weeks of, you know, clip shows and recaps and stuff up or down the calendar, it's still essentially the same thing, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And points to Cold Blooded. From Bound for Glory to Glory Hole Bound. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least with the Glory Hole, there's the potential of you feeling good. That's the whole idea.
As long as it's the one at the Shake Shack.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, even when, you know, our motto is, even when TNA takes days off, we don't. So we're always going to give you an Impact Attack where we can. That's our promise to you as we move into 2026. HMG will be doing some new things. Yes, at least there's a happy end. And maybe. We don't know. We don't want to assume anything. Yeah. But yeah. So with that being said, I looked over the news, and there's not really a lot of news. We touched upon something during the Raw watch along, about, you know, of course, William Regal made an impassioned, rare tweet about how imperative it is to protect your health as much as you can in wrestling. And, of course, that's met with various responses, like people praising it, and seconding those things. Other people just, throwing it back in his face or whatever. Even though the best part about the post, I think, besides the message itself, of course, was the way he just says, like, I don't use this platform, and you could, I'm not going to get back on and read anything that you guys say, so whatever. It's like he's already like preempting the people that are going to try to respond to it. By saying, like, if you're trying to respond to me, save your breath. But we all know, yeah, well, we all know that's not why people are on social media. They're not on social media for discourse. They're not on social media for conversation. Everyone on social media is saying, don't forget about me. Hi, I exist. I'm a person. Pay attention to me now. That's what everybody's doing, no matter what they purport to be doing. So yeah. But this all comes at, this came after, I guess, on the pay-per-view or whatever, Kyle Fletcher almost broke his neck or some shit like that. I don't know. What else is new? The kid's a lost cause. There's certain people that just don't get it. And even you even take a guy like Darby Allin, right? Who I've said in the past, like, he knows what he's doing. There's no point you're not going to educate Darby Allin. He's actually really good at wrestling and he knows what he's doing. But even he, like, some of the bumps that he takes, they seem like ill-advised, of course, but they all have, like, there's a certain psychology to what he's doing. They're dangerous and they're going to hurt, but they're not, like, he doesn't do a lot of stuff that's focused on, like, taking bumps on your head. Usually if Darby Allin takes a bump on his head, it's like incidental.
Yeah, it's like a legit fuck up.
Yeah, like he was out of control and landed weird. He's more into the ragdoll thing, which people in wrestling don't really do. He's kind of unique in that, like, he's taking a creative bump, but, or like getting thrown down the stairs is like, that's dangerous, but it's different. The kind of things that guys like Kyle Fletcher and these other wrestlers that do this do is, these are like high impact moves on a repeated basis. I mean, you think of the matches they have throughout their career, dozens, hundreds, whatever, and these things add up over time. And then the straw that breaks the camel's back eventually is what puts them in the hospital. You can take some bumps up high on your shoulders and on your neck and stuff like that. But, eventually the bump card runs out and you're just punching you're using multiple hole punches per bump if you're doing those. And, like, I think Regal said even in the tweet, like, I thought this would stop after Misawa. What he's referring to is Mitsuharu Misawa was, a very renowned wrestler, that had an amazing career, and some of his battles in All Japan are legendary, but eventually all of those high angled suplex bumps that he and other guys took, but for Misawa, it just took one too many and he fucking died. He took a bump in the ring and then he had to get taken to the hospital and he fucking died. So, that's what Regal's referring to. but that was like over a career. He did that over a career, and then finally it gave out. Um, the recklessness that people have for emulating that. It's one thing to be pioneering something, it's another thing to be emulating it, because when you're emulating it, you're not getting it the way it was meant, the way it was meant to be done. Um, when those guys were doing those things in all Japan, like the Misawas and the Kobashis and the, uh, you know,
Marufuji.
No, he was later. I'm thinking of like the primo all Japan four guys were like Kawada. Kawada was one, and what was the other one? I know Jun Akiyama came later, but there was a guy before him, I forget. Anyways, the point is those guys had these rivalries and these big matches. These were big money drawing matches for their company in that country, and they were like considered some of the peak of wrestling at that time because nobody was doing anything like that. So those rivalries and stuff necessitated the idea of like these, these big dangerous looking moves. They weren't doing that kind of stuff with like preliminary guys. Yeah, Taue. That's right. Um, so like they're, when they're giving each other Tiger Driver 97, they're not doing that just to Joe Schmo on some random episode of their TV show. That's like saved for like a major main event money drawing match that they did that in. So
yeah, not a random Collision.
Right, not a random episode of Collision, not a Dynamite, not even a random pay-per-view, in a match that doesn't mean anything. This match happened. This match with Jon Moxley that Kyle Fletcher had on this pay-per-view, where this bump took place that prompted this whole thing. He's in a semifinals of a tournament match that he's gonna lose. Like, he's not even winning this match. So like, why, and it doesn't, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling here, but the point is, Regal felt like he needed to say something, and it's almost like it's preaching to the choir, because the people that agree don't need to hear it, and the people that need to hear it don't agree, right?
Like Al Snow always says is, well, if you're smart enough, I don't need to tell you, and if you're too dumb, you're not gonna listen anyway.
Yeah, he does say that. Same thing. So yeah, but I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about it. It's just something that people are never going to agree on. But what could happen though is, the WWE will tell guys like, you're not doing that. They're going to step in and say, we're not doing that. Or they've in the past, they've banned moves, like as a company. Now, I'm not even talking about the kayfabe stuff. I'm talking about like quietly people weren't allowed to do things, because they're too dangerous and it's not worth it.
For sure. And I want to mention something too with Cold Blooded brought up here. Yeah, breaking your neck might get you an extra Meltzer star. I'll never forget. There's a clip that they played on Cash Rating the Marks one time where Meltzer said, like, I kind of have a limit of how many headshots I like. Wait, what? Like, you're cool with these guys taking like direct shots to the head, but you have your limit on what? So do you care about these people and their safety? This is a work. You're supposed to make it look like you're hitting them in the head, and Then you have wrestlers openly saying they're wrestling to try to impress him because they have it in their heads that he's his authority. So if I get over with him, I get over anywhere. Wrong.
Yeah, what does over mean, really? I mean, none of these people are famous outside of
The
their
bubble.
circles. Yeah, like they're barely famous in wrestling circles because most wrestling circles still to this day revolves around the WWE and nobody cares about the rest of these promotions. Right? So and even the WWE guys really aren't over, you know? Like these guys aren't over like they used to be. Like Roman Reigns isn't as over as The Rock was over, you know? CM Punk isn't as over as Austin was over. Like these guys, they're just not, wrestling is not as, it's mainstream, it's more mainstream than ever as a product itself, you know, but the guys themselves, you know, the stars, you know, we're not in that Hulkamania time anymore. We're not in the era of guys putting companies on maps. Now the company is on the map and the guys are just there, and you're not even, you're like a niche of that, you know? And it doesn't matter what, if Kyle Fletcher somehow, some way, and he never will, but if somehow he was a mainstream personality that everybody knew, it wouldn't be because he took a certain bump or did a certain move. And it certainly wouldn't be because of what a newsletter guy rated one of his matches. So, something to think about. Depends on what your goals are. Everybody has different goals. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have a match that Dave Meltzer likes. There's nothing wrong with that.
But just know how far it's going to get you and understand and recognize that.
Right. So, I don't know. Anything else to say about it? Because I think we pretty much, or I pretty much am done.
I don't really have much to add to that. You kind of nailed it there.
And I keep talking about that, you know, time and time again on all these shows whenever it comes up, whenever it's relevant. So, you know, I'll remind you again next time when I have to cover AEW. But we do have a Chris Winland question, thank goodness. Because we need some content here. And he has a good question this time because it's not even so much his question's almost rhetorical. Like he just put it's almost like a comment, but it still is good enough to, you know, spark a conversation. This is what he wrote. A lot of people blubber about Drew McIntyre and LA Knight. If either wins the title, then what? They're paid and bank cricket and Slim Jim money. What's the problem exactly? Piper was over without a belt, etc. I wish more fans had that understanding. Because I feel like the smarter the smarter fans get, the less they really understand still. You know, like what would LA Knight as a world champion, like how would that appreciably change anything on the show?
That's a good point. Like what? Yeah, just LA Knight getting more screen time. That's really about it.
Yeah, which he gets a lot of screen time. You know, he does. The only difference would be he would have a shiny gold belt, but I'm sure he would talk the same, and he'd wrestle the same people, and the only difference would be why he win the match. I think with Drew McIntyre, it's a thing of like there aren't enough people for him to beat, for him to lose this much. You know what I mean? Like you would think you'd go on a run of wins to build up credibility, and then when you go against a Cody Rhodes, it's like, oh, I couldn't beat the champ Cody Rhodes, but I beat all these other guys, but I can't beat him. But Drew McIntyre hasn't beat anybody. Drew McIntyre is the biggest job guy that there is. So at that in that stage, you know, that kind of does a little bit of damage. They should book the rest of it around it. If he's not going to win the belt, then he's got to have other like shorter programs with people that you don't mind him going over on, you know. And they have enough people to do this.
Yeah, how many? Even though Piper never got the belt, how many times do you see him go under in major matches? I think the major one I think of is Bret Hart for the IC belt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because he wanted to do the favor for Bret and get him over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Piper didn't need to win the World Heavyweight Championship. There's a lot of guys that didn't need to do it. But at the end of the day, that's kind of the point of what Chris is saying. It's like, if everybody kind of has the same role on the show and you're not going to do this like a sport, if you're going with just a bunch of, you know, gaga and bullshit and all this other stuff, then it doesn't really matter who's got the belts around their waist, because that doesn't mean anything. There's no sense of competition. Brandon, do you even feel like when you're watching like Raw and SmackDown, do you really feel like, or it doesn't even have to be WWE, just any place, do you feel like anywhere in wrestling that there's a sense of like, well, this is a division and these are the people that are in it and the prize is this belt? Like there doesn't seem to be a path. Everything just seems random because people can just come out and be like, hey, I don't like you, man. And then all of a sudden it'd be like, well, it's official. Santino's made the match. This guy doesn't like Frankie Kazarian, so he gets a title shot. Like there is no sport. There is no logic. There is no like sense of a league or rankings or anything like that. So if you're not going to do that, then everybody's just on the show and it doesn't really matter. If there were no championships, the show would be exactly the same. Right?
I mean, pretty much.
So, yeah, and it would be nice if, you know, the guys that get endorsements, you know, like the Slim Jims and the Cricket Wireless and the, you know, whatever it is, if you make sure that those guys are in like in a winning, they're being presented, as winners. I mean, that's all you really got to do. You know, if you don't want them to win a major championship against somebody else that has a belt, then have them beat somebody that it's okay for them to beat so that they're on TV getting a win. It's really just that simple. I don't really know what else to say about it. But I like the fact that Chris points out that these people don't think about what comes next if they get what they want. For example, to use a real sports analogy, well, I don't know if it's analogous to this, but it's just something that I think about sometimes. So the Chicago Cubs, right? Now, for so long, the Chicago Cubs were like the team that hadn't won a World Series since 1898 or, you know, whatever, some ridiculously long time. Like they were the team that had gone the longest without winning a championship. They'd existed so long without winning a championship, right? And that was kind of their thing.
Well, it's been since the last one. So they'd won. I think they won like two or they'd won at least more than one before that curse hit them.
Well, whenever it was at one point it was like over 100 years. Okay. I should put some money on the Cubbies.
1 year off. It ended up being 1 year off.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Cubs end up winning a World Series randomly one year. Right? Okay, now what? So what do the Cubs have now? Now they won that and they're never won again. No one talks about the Chicago Cubs. There's nothing interesting about them. Their one piece of identity as losers, like that was their thing. And I'm sure that the fans of the Cubs that have waited so long to see it, I'm sure there's plenty of heartwarming stories about people that were alive the last time they won a championship and they just got to see the Cubs win the championship before they died, like, the next day probably. I'm sure there's tons of human interest stories of things around the Chicago Cubs and them winning that championship. But for everybody else, for me who doesn't give a shit about the Chicago Cubs, the one thing that was interesting about the Chicago Cubs as their sports identity was taken away from me. You robbed me of the Cubs not having won for, put another tally mark, put another this many years since the Cubs have won a world championship. You ruined it. You ruined it for everybody by them winning. So I'm just saying, like, now that the Cubs got their championship, now what do Cubs fans even have? What do they even have to look forward to? They're just back to losing again or not winning the World Series or whatever the case, right? So they don't have that. It's like, okay, we won, and now what? And that's the same thing with these wrestlers and these championships. Doesn't matter if LA Knight wins a world title. He's still LA Knight, and he's still going to be LA Knight. So that's I hope that was a good enough answer or talking point or whatever. But yeah. Anything else anybody wants to talk about before we move on to this as we run through this quick holiday special?
No, I think we are good, pal.
Okay. Well, here are some things that happened on this show. Tom wore his sweater. He sat in the studio. He presented matches and awards. Starting with a 4-way tag team ladder match from Slammiversary. And that leads into the award for Tag Team of the Year, which was the Hardys. So the Hardys had their little plaques and they accepted with some marks standing in the background. A crossover moment of the year. Of course, that would be Joe Hendry at WrestleMania. As I'm watching this, I realize do they even have the same awards every year? Do they just make up awards to give? So I don't remember what a crossover moment would have been without WWE. What the hell could TNA have ever crossed over into?
Yeah, this is definitely a first year of that one appearing.
And also, wouldn't it be a cross the line moment?
How do they miss that?
How do they miss that? Well, probably the same way they miss everything else they do wrong. Okay, then we have a thing where Santa Gia is in the back and she is going to have Mara Sade come in. And what they're doing is they're having a Christmas surprise match where a team captain gets to pick 4 presents. Okay. There's a pile of presents no tree, just presents. And each present that you pick represents a mystery person that's going to be added to your team. So you're blind picking your team. So Marashade picks her 4 presents, and we don't see who they are. Why would that matter? Just tell us who it is. Because you would want people to, if this is any kind of interesting, then people are gonna tune in and see, like, once you tell them who's gonna be in the main event, they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll watch it. If you don't even tell them who's gonna be in the main event, they're gonna turn off and go to sleep maybe. So, but yeah, it just looks ridiculous where she's like opening the present, but you can't see anything, and she's like, yeah, I like this one. Look, just say it. Just say who it is. God damn it. Anyway, whatever. So that happened.
I would definitely take in a Christmas Wrestle House.
I'll consider it a gift that I didn't get a Christmas Wrestle House this year. I will say this. Let's rewind a second. Hardy's Tag Team of the Year. Any objection?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, they kind of were the tag team for TNA.
Some could argue they were the tag team. Maybe we're not just limiting it to TNA.
Oh, NXT too.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, in the business. Tag teams suck. The Hardys got a case for it.
That's a good. Okay, yeah. Now you put it like that. I see that now. Yeah, like, who has been a more successful overall tag team than the Hardy Boys
in 2025?
In 2025, yes.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds to say, I mean, but you look at the facts, you look at the playing field, the argument's there.
Well, I wouldn't argue it. I would just let it slip under the radar and hope that people thought they weren't the best. But that's just me and my personal bias. Now, as far as the Knockouts Tag Team of the Year, that's the Elegance brand, as well as the Knockout of the Year being Ash by Elegance. What do you think about this? Would you have picked anybody else?
Man, looking at what the Knockouts division has done this year and who's been in it, I mean, there's a few people you could make arguments for, but I gotta say, like, this was, as far as like success in TNA and carrying the Knockouts brand, it would have to be the Elegance brand.
Yeah, there's really no teams. It would have just been Spitfire as the only other team.
Yeah.
And they're not a team anymore. And you're not going to give Masha Slamovich Knockout of the Year now. So
nope.
But that's probably who it would have been, I would assume.
Yeah, had that not happened, it clearly would have been Masha.
And also, just to remind everybody, speaking of Spitfire, they showed the match from Sacrifice with Spitfire versus the Elegance brand, and that was the one. It was like the handicap match where the concierge was wrestling, so you got to see this guy in tights. But let's move on. We don't need to dwell on that.
Get me George Iceman and tidy whities, pal, and a bow tie.
It was gross. It was so gross. X Division Star of the Year, Leon Slater. I don't think you could argue that either.
Yeah, that's a slam dunk. Who else?
Just Moose. But
I forgot Moose.
But I think you would still get to Slater because of the back the back half of 2025 really picked up with him going to NXT and even being on Saturday Night's Main Event and stuff. So, you know.
But you can also say Moose was the guy who put him over and helped elevate him to that level.
Oh, I would definitely say that had a big hand in it, but you know, I also don't think that. I think that things like that also depend on Moose's booking, and I didn't think Moose's booking was that great this year. I mean, even just being in the X division, I understand the justifications they tried to put on it, but I just wasn't buying it. You know, he should never be anywhere out of the main event picture, in my opinion. So, but yeah, but you know, Leon's keeping it going. He's the champ now. He's had a good year. He had a very good, you know, fall and winter. So we'll just see him keep on doing it. And then of course they're going to show on this episode, they're going to show the Moose versus Slater match from Slammiversary where, you know, he won the title. All right. Team captain Ryan Ziegler, who is still wearing that turkey suit, but like as a scarf of some kind. You know, he picks his team and you know, he ends it with a bah humbug, but whatever about that. But let me throw this at you because I was thinking about it, seeing him there with that dumb turkey thing. So obviously when he got the turkey suit put on him, he sold it like death, right? but then he went on to just keep wearing it throughout like multiple events, and he's still wearing it here on this Christmas special. So this is what I was thinking, and I wanted to ask your opinion on it. And all you guys too. You can play along too, but so as a heel, right? Now he's trying to be a heel, and we know that he's doing this like just obnoxious, beyond even normal people that do an obnoxious gimmick. He's so obnoxious in the sense that this is like completely phony. Nobody would believe that a person could really be like this. But he's doing that, and then almost like a parody of himself. And then he gets, you know, the same thing with the turkey suit. There's like, no, nah, you know, just like all the cartoonish bullshit, right? But would it get more heat if he just like no sold it, like as if it didn't bother him, because we all want to see him be bothered by it, but then he doesn't? Like, would that be more heat? Would that be more realistic? Or certainly it'd be more realistic, but like really, you think about it. Okay, so you have this turkey bowl match, you lose, you have to wear the suit. Everybody sells it like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to them in their life. But really, you just have to put on the suit. And it's like, okay, so what? You know, everybody's laughing at me, and somebody had to wear this thing. You know, it's not like a choice I made, so it's not that humiliating, but you know. So by not giving the satisfaction to the people and taking that away from them and just not putting it over, like, I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. What do you think?
I mean, it'd be different. Some that they should have done for just to throw a kind of a curveball in it, because like you said, that's the overplayed. It's death. It's the end of the world. You've seen it so many times. It'd be different to see something, or he'll be more confident, be like, you know, like I own this.
Especially considering, well, he's just going to keep wearing it. You know, like he kept wearing it. So like if you were indignant about it to start with, then why would you keep wearing it? You weren't forced to wear it. But if you acted like it wasn't a big deal in the first place, and not only that, but you took it one step further and you're just wearing this turkey suit, but you're not even acknowledging that you're wearing it. You're just, you just go about your business like it's not even there. That then it would make sense that he did that.
Right. It's kind of like, in a weird way, you're telling the crowd you're aware of it, but you're not going to let them get to you, and you're kind of throwing it back in their face.
Yeah. Well, it'd just be like a new piece of gear, like a new ring jacket. It's a turkey. Like what? I mean, I don't know.
Who'd he could do like a kind of imitation of Nick Nemeth entrance where he has a turkey jacket coming out saying, "Yeah, you thought you'd give me, but I skinned this and turned it into a new jacket."
Yeah. And then people would be like, people that were tuning in would be like, why is he wearing that? Because now it's way past Thanksgiving, or whatever. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to think of something. All right. I'm trying to put effort into thought and stuff more than they do. Anyway, enough of that. The award for match of the year goes to Ali versus Santana from Rebellion. I don't remember that match because, I guess it was all right. And wrestler of the year goes to Santana. So can you think of any other matches that would have been better? Or would you think of a better wrestler of the year than Santana?
I mean, they all kind of blur together, so it's kind of tough. Santana's as far as matches go. Santana's wrestler of the year. I can see that. And that makes sense to me anyway.
Yeah, I mean they were gonna give wrestler of the year to Santana. I mean they've just been pushing him, so it's just a gimmick award. But of course they're gonna do that. I couldn't think of anybody else. What do you guys think? Should anybody else have been wrestler of the year for TNA besides Mike Santana?
Well, I mean, obviously Moose, but the booking and creative didn't really do him any favors this year.
Sure didn't. The inspirational wrestler of the year goes to Chris Bay. Of course.
As it should.
Yeah. Also, again, that's one of those ones I don't remember if they ever had that before. I don't remember if they ever had inspirational wrestlers before. But
was it presented to him by the Inspiration?
It wasn't at all. It was not presented to him at all. It was they just showed a video package. So
you mean you couldn't do a thing where him and just cut something with him and Inspiration and like any of the Bound for Glory? You could have cut this at Bound for Glory and then aired it then.
Oh yeah, you definitely could have. But who are we talking about? The faction of the year went to the System.
As it should.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure where you ever had faction of the year awards before, but again, my memory is not 100% reliable. Someone could definitely correct me if they wanted. So which brings us to our main event, which was the Christmas surprise match. And we get to find out who the teams were. Ryan's team consists of Mance Warner, Rosemary, Jake Something, and Jesse from the Inspiration. Whereas Mara Sade's team consisted of Desmond Xavier, BDE, Eric Young, and Cassie from the Inspiration.
One half of each Inspiration on 2 teams.
The inspiration was cut in half, only to be fully inspirational in this match. Yeah, they did a spot where they tagged. They both got tagged in, and
They try to do the outlaw finish,
yeah, they were trying to figure out a way they could
pin
both
each other.
pin each other. Yeah, and other than that, nothing that important happened. The finish came when Mara super kicked Rosemary. So they literally dug Rosemary up out of the grave just to take a pin.
They dug her up out of the grave just to kick her right back in it.
That's right. Now, I mean, she probably wasn't going to kick Jake something unconscious, but
there's about 8 other people in that match. You could have figured out a different finish than that.
Yep. Yeah, it's one thing if Rosemary's working it every week and then she's in this match, she takes a fall. But when she's been gone forever and she only comes back to get beat, then that's like a message. It's like you have to look at that as a message.
And why are they wasting Rosemary? Like, she should be the knockout right now.
If you're listening on audio, I'm shrugging as hard as I can. But there is good news, Brandon. It's over. We're done.
When it's over, is it really over?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Mr. McGrath. So that is your Christmas episode of the Impact Attack. Well, not the Christmas episode of the Impact Attack, but that was the special Christmas episode of Impact we have covered on the Impact Attack as we look forward into the 2026, and we're still not going to debut on AMC yet, but in a couple more weeks after, then maybe we'll still debut on AMC, and we'll see how that goes. So I would like to say, before we give you our plugs and say goodnight, just thank you for all of 2025. Thank you, everybody that stayed with us on the Impact Attack at our weird time right in the middle of Monday Night Raw, and with this bullshit company that they're lucky anybody cares about them at all. We appreciate you guys for being here. And as far as the new year goes, whatever you have planned for New Year, whether it's just staying home, going out, celebrating any kind of way, just make sure that you're 100% safe, whatever you're doing. Be sure to be careful out there. Be sure to drink responsibly, because we want you to continue to join us throughout 2026 and beyond for all of our shows and everything that we do. We want you there because without you, there is no us. So please put safety at a premium for the holiday and any other time. I'd just like to say that. And Brandon, what do you have going on for the rest of this week, which will turn into 2026 in the middle of the week?
All right, well, we're going to keep the party going tonight with in a few minutes after we go off the air with the HMG Raw Watch Long continuation, pick back up where we left off there. And then tomorrow we got the late start NXT Watch Along right after the A show goes off the air. And then we got the AEW Dynamite Watch Along and Bell Count. And then Thursday we got these TNA Impact Watch Along and Bell Count. And then the JCW Lunacy Replay Watch Along. And we're going to be messing with that schedule once TNA goes to AMC because they start an hour later. So I'm thinking we might do JCW Lunacy do a late start with that, like in half an hour after that starts, and then kind of follow that into Impact. That's kind of what I'm thinking. We'll probably experiment with that. We'll see how that goes. And then Friday, we got the SmackDown watch along and bell count. Back to 3 hours. Yay. Oh, looking forward to that. And
Maybe
then
they can dedicate more time to Julia.
they're not. They're not though.
Oh.
But hey, look at when
just a few more minutes. Just a few more minutes of Julia each week. You can afford it.
Let's look at her. And then Saturday, we got, since there's nothing big going on, no major wrestling events on Saturday, we got HMG After Dark. And I think we're going to kick it off with Back to the Future parts 1 and 2.
Precisely.
Great Scott. And then Sunday, I think HMG After Dark as well. For that, not sure what we're going to do. Maybe go back to some Canadian comedies. We shall see.
Remember, you're supposed to rewatch Glow on Netflix.
Ooh, that's a good one. We'll do Trailer Park Boys and Glow. How about that?
All right. All right. So there you go. Well, then, I guess as for me, you can find me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms. You can catch me on Hami Media Group at every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube and Twitch for the Next Level Wrestling review with Big Ray Hernandez. We'll talk about NXT, and hopefully Moose can take the North American title from Ethan Page, but somehow I doubt it. Why do I doubt it? I don't know. It's just this feeling I have. You can also catch me burying Kyle Fletcher every Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on The Wreckage with Jimmy T and Professor Chabela Cruz. Quite a three-man booth, and that show is gaining popularity, and it's a can't miss. So hope to see you guys there. Then check out Wrestling with Britt Rogers every Friday. Check out Stevie Richards' show every Friday. Check out Timmy Baltimore's Limpin' Ain't Easy every... And yeah, those are the things that you should be checking out. So once again, have a safe New Year's. I hope you all had a merriest of Christmases. And for Brandon, I'm the vet, and I don't have a sign-off line.